For some people, the name Chris Brown leaves a bitter taste in their mouths for a variety of reasons. He's typically called the King of R&B because of his amazing vocals and great dancing skills. But he also has a reputation for putting his hands on women, and not in a good way. Chris Brown did the unthinkable in 2009 when he decided it was a good time to hit his girlfriend at the time, Rihanna, and that was when things really went south. 15 years have passed since that incident, but people still bring up the incident and the artist is tired. It's been over a decade since the unfortunate incident. Why hasn't Chris Brown been forgiven? In 2004, when Chris Brown and Rihanna were still new in the industry and trying to find their way, they met each other. But they didn't start dating until 2007, and they were considered the it couple of the 2000s. They were making appearances together, attending games, and even performing together. Whenever paparazzi released a new picture of the couple, Rihanna was always beaming with smiles, and it was obvious that they were in love. One of the attractive things about their relationship was the fact that they were both young and newbies in the industry, but they were sticking by each other. As their fame increased, people expected that they would get tired of each other and move to new people. But the duo that was Rihanna and Chris Brown was too hard to separate. However, their seemingly perfect relationship would come crashing down a night before the 2009 Grammys Awards show. So, let's give you a backstory into their relationship, according to Chris Brown. Before Chris started dating Rihanna, he was involved with somebody on his team, and when Rihanna asked about it, he said there was nothing going on. According to him, he was scared to tell Rihanna the truth because he was worried about who she would talk to and reveal it. He didn't want her to know too much about him, and that's the twist. Chris Brown claimed that he wanted to marry Rihanna when they were younger. So how do you want to spend the rest of your life with this person but keep secrets? How do you try to control her reaction? Anyway, the trouble set in when they started dating, and Chris Brown felt that it was the perfect time to tell Rihanna about the other girl she was worried about. The girl was still on Chris Brown's team, and for some reason, the artist expected Rihanna to be okay with the level of proximity he had with the other girl. To be fair on his part, he tried to give her reassurance by giving her access to his phone. However, there's only so much that can do when you already lied and made your girl insecure from the get-go. The physical assault between the pair didn't start that night before the Grammys, as on different other occasions they had attacked each other. According to Chris Brown, Rihanna would slap him whenever they had an argument, and he would retaliate. If they had a performance together, they would go on stage with scratches and scars and have to lie about them.
There's always a point to when we talk about it, like, yo, what the fuck are we doing? Like, I don't like that. I don't like you slapping me.
But despite the toxic nature of the relationship, they would always go back to each other and keep everything happening away from the public. Back to the night before the Grammys, Rihanna and Chris Brown were in the car when he gave her his phone to go through it. He had gotten a text from the other girl telling him to kill the Grammys. He didn't open the message, but Rihanna did, and that was when she saw the girl telling Chris Brown that they would see each other at the cloud party. Rihanna flew into a rage and started biting and hitting Chris Brown because she had trusted him wholeheartedly. In anger, Chris Brown retaliated and punched her in the face, busting her lip in the process. With a bloodied lip, Rihanna began to fight back because this was beyond their regular fights. Chris Brown, being stronger than her, overpowered her and battered her face. She got a black eye and busted lip after the fight, while Chris Brown looked perfectly fine.
Like I with a closed fist, like I punched her, and it busted her lip.
It was at this point that people knew there was more to the relationship than they were putting on. After the incident, Chris Brown was arrested and placed on a 5-year probation with a compulsory domestic violence awareness class. 2 weeks after the incident, Rihanna went back to Chris Brown before finally filing a restraining order against him. To get to the point of getting a restraining order, it means the relationship was too unbearable and he likely continued to threaten her. After the incident, Chris Brown has since made his return to the music scene, but people continue to bring up the issue with Rihanna. Although both artists seem to be on good terms, their fans don't seem to agree and fancy the cordial relationship. If they could, Rihanna fans would erase Chris Brown from the music industry. But Chris Brown is evidence that canceling culture doesn't always work. The artist has come out since then to ask people to stop bringing up Rihanna, that he has healed and just wants to focus on his career. But it's hard to do considering his violent behavior did not end with Rihanna. After breaking up with Rihanna, Chris Brown started dating Karrueche Tran. They started dating in 2011 and even got engaged at some point before ending the relationship in 2015. But their relationship could just never be happy, considering that Chris Brown had a reputation of going around with multiple women. Throughout their 4 years of dating, the relationship was plagued with rumors of cheating and multiple breakups. One thing that was also present in their relationship was domestic violence. Just like Rihanna, Karrueche also covered up the violence, and since she was a model, it was easy for her to use makeup to cover up whatever bruises were left behind. Their breakup was eventually made final after Nia Guzman revealed that she had a child with Chris Brown. Obviously, Karrueche was broken, and after ending things with Chris Brown, she revealed that he had been abusing her, and it felt like a replay of the situation with Rihanna. Only that this time, Karrueche actually could have decided not to get involved with Chris Brown because it was public knowledge that he was abusive.
So which part of you was willing to give him more time after all that he did?
While Chris Brown was still with Karrueche, he started frolicking around with Nia Guzman, who he met in 2014. When Nia got pregnant in 2014, she kept the paternity a secret because Chris Brown was still with Karrueche, and people would have chewed her at the neck if they knew the truth. We don't know what issues she had with Chris Brown later on, but she eventually revealed that he was the father in 2015, and that was when Karrueche left him. Nia Guzman and Chris Brown never dated officially afterwards, and it felt like Nia revealed the truth probably after threatening him that she was going to. After the truth came out, Nia and Chris Brown got into a custody battle over their child, and he was accused of not paying child support. Amidst all the arguments, they accused each other of being unfit parents. If you ask us, Nia Guzman and Chris Brown are unfit parents because why would you get with each other knowing that one is already in a relationship? As if cheating wasn't enough, you decided to get pregnant and accuse the other of being an unfit parent? It's a good thing that they wrapped up that conversation because it was already awkward from the get-go. Chris Brown's violent behavior could have long been forgotten, but just when fans are moving on, he shows his fighting spirit again. In 2023, Chris Brown was having his birthday party at a skating rink with Usher in attendance, and also slated to perform. Before then, some music fans have been calling for artists to boycott Chris Brown because of all the domestic violence allegations against him. But no one listened because it was supposedly all in the past. Anyway, at his skating rink party, Teyana Taylor was also in attendance, and it turned out that Chris Brown had beef with her. At the American Music Awards in late 2022, Chris Brown was supposed to present a tribute to the late Michael Jackson, but the performance was canceled, and he said it was Teyana Taylor's fault. Why? We don't really know. When Chris Brown saw her sitting at his birthday party, he approached her and started confronting her about an issue that had happened 6 months ago. It was a pathetic scene, and Usher hurried to get between them and separate what could have led to a fight. Chris Brown wasn't happy with the turn of events and walked out with his team. Usher ran after him and came back with a bruised face. It was obvious that he'd gotten into an altercation with Chris Brown and had lost because Chris Brown didn't have bruises on his face. Social media creators didn't have a lot of pity for Usher because they expected him to know that Chris Brown was still as violent as ever. Teyana Taylor also didn't get any pity because it made no sense for her to show up at his party when it was public knowledge that he abuses women. Chris Brown has been trying to escape the accusations of him being an abusive man, but he is never beating the allegations. We could have said that he has apologized for all the violence he has meted out on his partners in the past, and now should be allowed to live a normal life. But he hasn't shown true remorse by trying to change his behavior and make things easier for his fans. Chris Brown is a talented singer and is amongst the artists that have kept R&B alive. But if he wants people to separate the art from the artist, he needs to fix up. Obviously, canceling culture won't work on him because he has people constantly defending his behavior and saying everything he has done in the past. So his career is still far from going under. However, Chris Brown will be associated with his violent behavior for a very long time, and that would affect his public image. Will people still stream his music? Of course. Will people buy his records? Oh yes, they will. But will people stop talking about all the women he has traumatized? No, And that is all Chris Brown's fault.